defensive players. But that's the other thing. Defensive players, it's just like they want them to lead with their shoulder. I don't know how that's going to look trying, both guys not lowering their heads trying to tackle each other. I guess it has to work, because it's a rule at this point. But defensive players have been taught to jar the ball loose with their helmet. We've seen that. And we've seen guys get credit, and applauded for he got a hat on the ball. That's the term that they use. He got a hat on the ball and caused the fumble. So are you going to call a penalty, or are you going to eject that player if they cause a fumble, with their head? Or are we talking about just helmet to helmet? Or if someone lowers their head to deliver the boom, are you going to actually assess a 15-yard penalty or eject the player? This is not something that is to protect the quarterback or anything like this. This could be anybody. And the last thing you want is for a game to be going on and Le'Veon Bell lowers his head and then he gets thrown out of the game. People are going to lose their mind if he gets thrown out of the game. The other thing, Nick Wright, and I listen to First Thing First, all the time. I love that show. Nick Wright was talking about him and Chris Carter. Well, what about the quarterback when the quarterback sneak? They lower their head and they try and go underneath the pile. They try and lead with their head to get in. Is that going to be a penalty? Is that going to be a reason to, eject someone? So it's still a gray area, but players are going to have to change the way that they play football. JY3 has said in the Wait a Minute Show chat room, he said maybe they should just change the game to Tecmo Bowl. This is getting ridiculous. I guess JY3, when the tackle get ready to come, you just shake your body, and wiggle, 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 and then you get out of the tackle. Maybe, I don't know, JY3. I definitely, is trying to wrap my head around how are you going to be able to tackle someone without your head. It's because that's going to have to be taught from Pee Wee League up, and if you're saying that, and again, I think we'll get a more definitive, explanation as far as like what's acceptable and what's not. But if you're completely trying to take the head out of the whole situation, then we're talking about changing how college football is played, high school. Because if they're using their heads, we're talking about a good 7 to 8 years of someone doing that, and then they get to the league and all of a sudden you can't do that. I don't know. But I am going to be very intrigued on how they police that. Very intrigued. So, NFL, they're going to have more rule changes. Of course, again, they're trying to make this thing safer. I get it. But will it be at the expense of entertainment to the game? No one wants a guy going around here having head problems, and all this stuff and his quality of life being affected. But the helmet thing, guys just use it. They just use it. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out. And we're going to find out sooner than later. And last thing I'll say on this, I think it's going to be something that they are really going to be tight on. Like, there's going to be a bunch of flags thrown, on this to try and get all the players in line with how this thing is going to be ruled or how this thing is going to be ref, out there. And there are going to be some mix-ups. There are going to be some mess-ups, on it. It's going to cost some people some possessions, possibly a game, Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Guy, make a great play, getting his team in position, maybe for a touchdown or a field goal. He lowers his head, and they lose 15 yards. I that could be causing problems, but we won't know until the season start, and then we'll formulate a better opinion, on it. But NFL making some changes. They are definitely not playing around with these rules changes when it comes to player safety. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the show, and I promise y'all, I said at the end of the show, we were going to have a Big L award, and we were going to go international with this award, and I'm going to keep my promise about that. And tonight's Big L award, and let me tell you first, the Big L award is basically short for the Big Loser Award, and we give this award out for someone that does loserish things that is just unexplainable, and just like how we all have, done losers things. So sometimes we got to take an L. So we give out them L's here on the Wait a Minute show. And Lopan came up with this thing, and I just said, we'll run with it. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard this story, we are going to the airline business. Normally we kind of stay in sports, but we are going to step out of the realm of that and go internationally to an airline company called TAP Air. They are in Portugal. So that's why we're going international. They are in Portugal. So if you haven't heard this story, TAP Air basically had a flight, and it was 106 passengers that were on this flight, and they were going to a set destination. And I think it was, they were in Germany and they was going somewhere else. But more importantly, the co-pilot on the plane appeared unsteady on his feet. This was the report, and had a strong smell of alcohol on his breath while passing through the terminal. So someone saw this, they reported it, and they're going to check it out. Come to find out, the co-pilot is drunk. He is sloppy drunk, slizzard, if you will. And he is obviously in no shape to be piloting a plane or helping out. Now, I know you're thinking like, okay, how's that loser? Well, it's losers because you put people's lives on the line. But here's the other thing that's losers, is that the company didn't have a backup plan for the passengers. So these passengers were stranded for 3 days. Yes, 3 days. Not a few hours, not one night, and all that stuff. 3 days. And you're sitting there like, first off, you put me on a plane with a guy that's been drinking. Then now I'm stuck here and I have nowhere to go for 3 days. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If they put me on there and we not even, they talking about they put them overnight in some place. We know you putting me in overnight. But once when they get to day 2 and definitely to day 3, we talking about where Jelani is going for the week, for the next 2 weeks, if you will. I don't want to hear anything, about we're sorry and all this stuff. No, what I want to hear is, Mr. Bodie, do you want round trip business, creme de la creme, whatever it is? Because y'all need to put me on something after I take this trip, because I still got to do this trip, but I need to be ensured that the next trip that I take, y'all are taking care of me. Because yes, I'm going to take a chance and put my life on the line and fly with y'all once again to get that benefit of flying wherever it is I want to fly. But you got a guy that's drunk, and then y'all take him off the plane, but then you ain't got nobody on call. You ain't not one person Is everybody busy? Was everybody at the Source Awards or something like that? I mean, I don't understand how you can have 106 people stranded for 3 days and they have nowhere that they can go. It's not like you are in Detroit trying to get to Columbus, Ohio, where you just say, you know what, we're going to rent a car, or you know what, we're going to get y'all a bus. We're sorry, but we're going to get y'all there. No, you have to fly. And they were there for 3 days, stranded. So, for TAP Air Portugal, I, myself, is going to give you this Big L award, but I'm going to do it a little bit more different, a little bit more special, a little bit more for the International Big L Award, and I'm going to give it to them in Portuguese. So, Primeiro Grande Perdedor to TAP Portugal Air. You take this, my amigo.
See? Another loser.
Indeed as well, Lopan. Thank you. 3 days? 3 days. 3 days. Mocha Bella in the chat room said, I heard those pilots get drunk all the time. They couldn't they couldn't put those passengers on another flight. Yeah, exactly, Mocha. Exactly. Y'all all out of planes. You mean to tell me y'all ain't got another plane? That we can get on. Angry Black Man said, Mocha, a lot of some fly drunk, but many fly with very little sleep. So yeah, that's another thing. And here's, on a serious note, I really think if they haven't started doing this yet, they need to start doing this. Every time you get on a plane, you getting ready to fly somewhere, I need you to take a breathalyzer test. I think that should be implemented anytime a pilot, co-pilot, whoever is going to have their hands on the controls, they need to be taking a breathalyzer test. Something to drunk. I mean, this is not the first time. Like Mocha just said, this happens more often than not, So I said it. International, once again, Primeiro Grande Perdedor. Big L award for this airline company. Give it to him, Lopan.
See? Another loser.
Indeed, Lopan. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is tonight's show. We gave you the Big L award like I promised. And we talked about some football, we talked about some basketball, and we talked about some people that needed to get credit where credit is due. So, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so y'all can finish up the rest of your night, whatever it is that you're going to do, and get ready for the weekend and have a good weekend coming up. Pretty warm here in the ATL, so I enjoyed it. But let me get some of these shout outs to some of the people that's been listening to this show. All the listeners, if you want in the chat room, appreciate you for dropping in. But, Ms. Mocha Bella, I appreciate you for dropping in. Angry Black Man, who I gave him his avatar. I didn't know the man had his own business. AngryBlackMan.com. Building value. Man, I appreciate you for dropping in. My man Ron, I appreciate you for dropping in. JY3, thank you for dropping that Michigan knowledge. I appreciate you for dropping in. Oh, look at that. Shelly B is in the building. Appreciate you for dropping in, Shelly B. I appreciate the love. My man Big L, the original Big L, in the building. Appreciate the love. Cedric Galloway, West Raider fan for life. Appreciate you for dropping in, sir. Kevin Gray, Clutch Talk Sports. Man, the man with the plan. Appreciate you for dropping in. And I always love saying this. 334 Bama, boy. Appreciate you for dropping in, sir. Tiffany Poodle in Portland. I appreciate you for dropping in. Papa Dame Dollar. My man Mo Cheese, Country Road Show. I appreciate you for dropping in as well. And again, all the people that was listening on the show, I appreciate y'all. And I'm not going to forget Brian Hill, who was also in here. DJ Knox, who was also in here. Miss Tori Lee, who was also in here. I appreciate all of y'all. So, I'm going to get y'all out of here on this. I told you to eat the hate. I told you to rub out the negativity. All you need to do when you wake up in the morning, do that Superman. Open your chest. Open your chest and let everybody know I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. So just